Hey, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing the Season 7 GvG maps that have been released that we're going to be playing around here in the Forerunner server. And of course, you're going to get this in the global server when Season 7 picks up. It's a week after the Season 6 gauntlet has been completed. And who better to bring into this video to discuss the new maps than the GvG god himself, my rising horde rival in the global server, Destin. Destin, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. First of all, I would not call us rivals. It has not been close. Let me just say.
we face each other enough, and it was fun to see you fail at least once with the Cratch meme defense that I left you all. Because I do like to have, when I do know that we're going to face you guys, I always like to play some type of mimicky defense for you guys to hit. But yeah, it was fun to see that Cratch defense do something for a change.
That was unironically a good defense. like what the heck? I was not expecting a Cratch, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't even practice for it. I just sent it, and it did not work. To be fair, you had Yummer, which is unfair.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be a watcher. I just threw Cratch in there. I was like, he's not gonna do anything to this guys, and he got you. So all right,
he was good. He did work.
But I will tell people, don't go using Cratch. You need gear. You need him at 5. So it's not gonna work if you try to do what I did with Destin when we did face him early this season. But so
hey, you heard it here, folks. Use Cratch on your defense. A0 unskilled level 50. It'll work.
Oh man, no, once you get that misfire away from him, he can sometimes pick off a couple people, so it was fun. So here in Season 7, I don't know if you were able to look at this in the test server closely, but one of the things that they're going to add, and I think it was in the patch notes as well for the global server, is that they're going to add a player leaderboard for Season 7 where actually everybody will get to, their points will be displayed based on how they perform on offense. And so if you start accumulating those points, you can then see that you're going to get a tier of rewards. And as you advance into the ladder, you're going to get all this different stuff coming into it, right?
I love myself some ancients, of course.
Yeah, and okay, so this is not bad, right? But what could cause some havoc, and I don't know if, let's say in your guild, I don't know if you guys have a structure where there are some of your members that get to go first and then look at the defenses and see what they can hit, and then the ones that have usually the more developed rosters get to go last. But at the end of the season, if you finish in the top 4 for this leaderboard, and there's only 4 players here in Forerunners, I'm not sure if this is exactly how it's going to be in global, but let's just assume it is. Only the top 4 get 70 moss shards, and then 5 through 10 get 30 moss shards. So that's essentially what the top 10 is competing for here.
This is a very short-sighted feature, I will say.
Isn't it?
It's good to give more moss shards, but why is not like the top 50% of players getting 10 moss shards or something, and then number 1 is getting what, like 50 at the most? This is like freaking 4 people are gonna tear through every defense you ever make, and then everyone else is impossible to get to the same level for no reason. I like the idea, but
there should have been more players getting this, because look, 100% of the player pool, we're gonna get extra guild coins, 200. Ooh, I get to what, 1/5 of an ancient shard, and 100 and K gold and 150 diamonds. That's it. And then you have to be in the top 10 to even look at a moss shard, and in the top 200 to even get a shard for an artifact essence. This here is just, to me, it was dumbfounded that they even added this to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna complain too much about more free stuff.
Oh yes,
but also it's gonna create such an insane imbalance that there's gonna be no recovering from, because 4 people are gonna get 70 mosh shards. And the thing about it only affecting 10 people who get those shards is every guild has 30 people in it. So, like freaking 10 people, that's a third of a guild. 200 rewards given out, like slightly better rewards given out. 200 people is what? Like 7 guilds? Less than 7?
It's
like
about it's 30 per guild. So yeah, you're looking at 200 people. It's less 6.5. If that, yeah.
Like come on. that's gonna be nothing. Like I'm planning on right now, I'm taking it easy a little bit, and the second that the next season goes off, I'm gonna like start exclusively practicing and only hitting keeps and see if that helps.
That's going to be essentially, that's going to be the race for it, is who's going, exactly, getting the keep points. And then what that might lead in some guilds is there's going to be wasted attacks because people are going to be chasing the points. Yes. I'm gonna be interesting to see what the dynamic is, especially if you already have a structure of who goes first, who goes second, who goes third, or it's going to be a free-for-all just because you personally want to be climbing up this leaderboard. It'll be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Also something that I might consider, I really like where I am, like and I don't want to leave, but also I could go down to Plat 1, let's say, and wail on really bad defenses and win every single attack.
But
and I think the points are similar, right? Or is it different?
Let me make sure on that. No, because it goes by which rank you go. So for example, in Overlord, if you attack a central keep, so if you destroy 3 soul cores, you're gonna get 220 points. Okay, if you do decide to go better. If you decide to go into platinum, you're only gonna get 150. But here's the thing, is platinum 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. It's just as long as you're in platinum. So people are going to be, if they want to climb into this leaderboard, they're going to have to look for guilds that are persistently in Overlord to get the full 220 instead of just the 150.
Yeah.
Okay. And then defense towers, it does scale down a little bit, so you don't get as many points. So you go from 80, 150, 180 to 20 to 60, 120, 150, 180.
Oh, so you actually get points for not doing anything, or
no. So if you get 0, if you attack and you don't get a call, you still get 60 points. Yes.
Okay, that's
on
good.
The tower, and on the keep you'll get 80. So in a way, is that they're trying to incentivize you to do attacks. Even if you fail them, you're gonna get something out of it. And then eventually you'll get enough points to climb up in the point quest and then get these rewards. So
which is great. Which is great. It's just the rankings. It should not go from 100% to top 200 players in the entire server.
No, exactly.
That's just insane.
No.
That's just insanity.
Disclaimer for those of you listening. Disclaimer: this is forerunners, and yes, it's a limited pool. So I am waiting to see if this is implemented exactly the same way in global. If it is, then destined points does apply. It's really weird to just have 200 players out of a massive pool just get these rewards.
Like there's freaking, I know they're all bots, but in tournaments there's 100 people in every single tournament. Like what the are they thinking? Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. My bad.
That's fine. We'll beep that. Don't worry about it. You're free. Okay, so let's go on now to the main topic, which is defense building for these maps. So I'm gonna start out here. Let's start with the central keep, and let me see here. I have 1, 2, 3, 2. Let's see. No, that's too many platforms. 1, 2. Let me see if I can grab.
It's 4 platforms on both.
Yeah, I know, but because I wanna illustrate, I'm gonna grab some. Ground units, just so we can show this a little bit better, because it's easier to imagine the platforms than it is the ground tiles. So, all right, so here we go. Let's recall everybody back, and I'm gonna start here coming, because here is where the demon soldiers are popping out here, and so the track is going to be right here. So they'll come to the left, they'll come down, and then they'll make a weird turn and then try to get to the core. All right. So the first, I guess, the first point of engagement that you can make is here. Now, the thing is, in terms of setting this up here, Destin, I don't know if you're going to have a chance to look at it really quick, but there's a platform unit here down at the bottom, okay? So there's one that you can count on, and there's possibly a second one here if the Gardener Guards don't get you. But one of the things that we're trying to study is exactly how we're going to get fighters to help us here, or how we're going to get 4 platform units to help us engage this. So one of the things that I was thinking about is that you could, if you wanted to get sneaky with a fighter that has a long range, to try to engage here and then have units engage here in the back, and then you have like a healer that you can put here. But when you have this widespread, to me, if it's, well, let's say, unless you're using eye here on the back, it's easy to swarm. So yes, just the first look at this, it would be really hard to implement a defense that I think would be really effective and use it in this area here to defend this map.
Yeah, this area looks really mediocre, actually.
It does.
Like, I could see some interesting piercer comps come out of this because you know no one else will reach where Ajax was, where you just placed him.
That's one, right? That was one of the benefits that we saw, is that you could put a CC unit there, but it's going to be really hard.
The thing is, fundamentally, piercer comps are garbage in top level GvG Guild. There's no good piercer comps. You will never find one in top 30 play or whatever, right? So
yeah, so when we're talking about piercer comps, to those of you that are just like in plat 2, plat 3, yeah, that might work for you, right? Especially because you're probably not dealing with demon soldier levels that are beyond 5, right? But in Overlord, Destin and I kind of see already that it would be really hard to defend if we had to start at this point here with the defender in this time. Yeah.
And what I don't really like is half of the tiles on this map seem like dead tiles.
They are.
Because you see down the strip in the middle, there's zero way you would ever place anyone at the top of that area. Right? Like you see those 2 tiles above Regulus or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, oh yeah. People should not count on these. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those are like the worst tiles I've ever seen. Like...
So for those of you wondering as to why we wouldn't do that, is because the defender is all the way over here. So if the demon soldiers are coming from here and this is their first target point, they're not going to look at the defender. The first target points are going to be these 2 platforms. So if you have Gardener Guards, they're going to strike those 2. If you have archers, as soon as they get into this range here where the tank is not even in their view, they're going to target here. Same thing with the lightning guards. This is going to be their favorite spot. So yes, once you place your defender here, you kill these 2 spots here. And now I understand what they're doing with trying to add a fighter spot here, but this type of tile, ground tile here, what I like to call it is a Balduran spot, because that's essentially the only hero that you could really count on if you wanted to do that. Because somebody could just send the destroyers and just go ahead and AoE damage that tile and you're gone.
Yeah, or any single like ranged attacker, right? Yeah. Like an archer, lightning guard. Which, by the way, we see level 5 lightning guards quite often, and those delete every unit in existence.
Yes, they're very powerful.
But even outside of fighting people who have that, it's just like I hate this tile. I hate this tile format. It's never good, and I never recommend it. It takes a unit with 6 lives or 5 lives or whatever, like a million with Carnelian, to even vaguely stand a chance in this spot. And also, he's still bad there. But I'm talking about Valderon. He's still not good there.
No, exactly. I mean, people could try to get sneaky. That's essentially what's going to be. But I can already sense that somebody's going to say, no, I have Iovar and I have Silas. They'll do fine over here. They'll pick something up, which might work for some people, but for some of the others and not. You and I know that if we see Piercer team, we're probably going to try to overwhelm it and just try to rush it if at all possible. So, yeah, if you decide to pick this first portion of the map, good luck to you, is essentially what we're going to tell you, if you can defend it. Okay, so then the second point of engagement, it looks to be here, because this seems to be the first ground tile here. So this is kind of like, I guess you could call it a Dahlia ingress spot if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but what I will say that is good is it's a lot shorter of a Dahlia ingress spot.
It is. That's a positive one. Yes.
Yeah, so I do like that because it hypothetically makes Ingrid a little less prevalent, but still makes it so that she's good.
It still makes it so people that, especially those that don't have the time to have things tested or just want to put a defense together really quick, it's quickly enough for them to say, yeah, okay, I'll put Dahlia Ingrid here. Hopefully it works, type of deal.
Yeah. But it will be very easy to swap her to single target.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And it's pretty short. Also, something else I'm noticing here is the tile below Regulus is the same idea as the tile at the top. Like,
yeah, something like that.
It's a tile that you're basically never going to use. Because if you put your tank back there, bookkeepers will kill everything around it, and then there's no place to place any other units. So then that defense is gone. But then if the tank is one tile forward, which it looks like you kind of have to do, that bottom tile is useless. So it's another dead tile that it's a little disappointing.
So I hope that people are picking that up. So so if we put the tank all the way in the back, like he said, bookkeepers are just going to wipe everything out. So this platform becomes dead. You cannot use it. You have to retreat back. Otherwise, you're going to get sniped, okay? Especially if you're trying to use this fighter tile here. So the only way that this position here will work is your defender being here in this tile here. Now, if you want to get sneaky and have an extender, just in case you're getting swarm or anything, that's fine. But remember, the less DPS that are around your defender, the weaker he becomes. It's essentially what's going to go on. You give him more of the opportunity to the opponent to take down your defender by just trying to put things backwards or trying to say, engage here, there's somebody that's going to back him up, and then have like one or two heroes on the back here to play like support. That's not going to work. Something's going to happen. The other thing though too is if we don't have enough protection here at the turn, this is Gardener Guard food right here.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that there's something that's going to slow people, something that's going to slow things down, and don't say, I'm going to put Mary here. That's easy target too. Yes. So that's not going to work. You're going to have to come up with something. I don't know if Natalia would be enough to slow them down, or maybe even I all the way in the back or something like that, just to slow things down. But yeah, so just keep in mind that if somebody decides to release Gardener Guards and then release the Speedster right behind them, you're going to give them a shot to take this unit down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like maybe you could make a team with like a Valderon or some 2-tile fighter behind like a Wukong maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be something. But from what I'm seeing, it looks like every single team or most of them are going to be at the back.
Exactly.
By the portal.
So here is the portion of this map where I say that I like to mention is this is the Season 5 Recycle exclusive that they given us here. This little portion right here, except for maybe this platform, because now we don't have the platform in the back here, but they did give us a couple options here. So instinctively, we're going to do something like this, where we're going to put our defender right there, right? If we put him back, we're going to kill our ability to use this platform tile. This is essentially bookkeeper mid here. And if we place the defender back here, we pretty much give up the protection that these platforms have. Yes. Because we placed the defender all the way back here. All right. So we're going to place our defender here. That's going to be our instinct. The other instinct might be to place a long range fighter here if you wanted to. Right. So
yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about, just to see if I could toy around with it, especially with my Forerunner guildmates, is placing Ares here since he's magic damage. Maybe he can bring those destructors down a little bit quicker. So they don't do a whole lot of damage to you. But then again, you have other units that you're going to have to contend with. And if we place a fighter here, I collected a clip here of people that you're going to need to keep this in mind if you decide to place a fighter here with a defender here. So if you're seeing this, Destin, I deployed the archers And so what I wanted to show people,
they're gonna get hit right as they walk up here. On
this
the
barrier, this barrier is not a barrier.
Damn.
So you saw that. I just wanted to show my guildmate. Okay, so at least your Wukong was able to sustain the hits with the healer that you picked. But that is one of the downsides if we decide to go with that strategy there of placing a fighter in this portion here. So let me see if I can turn that off again.
And although they're not killing them, maybe that could be like a way to slow your unit down so you could stack demon soldiers better or something like that. Might be part of the strategy.
It's some type of strategy that you can use. Yeah. So I'm gonna say if you do decide to put a fighter here, it's going to be a hybrid. You cannot just build them out as straight DPS, or you got to make sure that if you team him up with somebody like Carnelian, that she can put that solo inserts really, really quick.
Yeah.
So that's the only warning that I have here in that. And then, of course, what we did in season 5, I think, is that we pretty much put magic damage dealer here, like Patrikios or Ingrid, and we had some type of fighter here in the back if we wanted to try to kind of combat things. But I think that for this map, this is going to be the positioning here that we were going to be looking forward to, especially with the healer back here, or we can even put Ajax up a little bit and then hit or some other long range marksman up here with the healer here just to try to cover things. But I think that the meta differences are going to be here in this spot here for this map.
Yeah, I think so. The two defenses that were the most prevalent, at least in my experience, in season 5, which is, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to do any editing, but if you flip the map slightly sideways, you can see it's the exact same map.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see the Arbiter team, the Ingrid Praetus again.
Yep.
With like a Reeve or with a Constance or whatever, probably a lot. And then we're going to see a lot of Esotericists, so Ymrit or Reeve with the Anora and the whatever, those teams I expect to see a ton of again. But something I will say is I think they will be easier because now rocks are farmable.
Correct. That's one.
Yes.
Yeah, that is, and we have the other demon soldiers coming in as well. So we'll see what happens eventually, especially with the second set of demon soldiers that they described. Especially with the 2 marks that are coming, maybe that changes up a little bit of things. But just first glance at this map, to me, it would be, this is where I'm going to get my defenses here and try to get them tested. Because everything in the bottom part and in this first portion here of engagement, I think it's going to be really difficult to defend effectively.
Yeah, and the map's so long that there's going to be like a million necroskeletons coming down, and there's just like there's a lot of different like quirks to this being the way it is.
Yep.
That isn't the same.
Anything else that you want to highlight here? The only other thing I don't know if I mentioned it, but in stacking it here, this platform could become a little bit dangerous, right? Because it's snipeable.
That is a good Ajax spot.
So it is a good Ajax spot, but you got to make sure that we can melt those Garner guards. Otherwise, this is going to be their first targeting point right here.
Yeah, it's impossible to heal them, basically.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? So yeah, so I think that we have a couple of spots here. Ajax here, I think is it could allow us to defend this a little bit better, but we just gotta hope that we're not going up against level 5 Garner guards or anything like that yet.
Yeah, I have a couple guildmates with level 5 already. So.
Yeah, I would imagine, man.
People have it already, so you do have to adjust, and it's gonna make things really hard. So, interesting enough map, but it's a terrible spot, a decent spot, and then a good spot. But the good spot is just the same map again. So it's just like, well.
I don't really know what to tell him. I don't know. When I was covering the Gauntlet map, I described it as this is the job of an intern that gets drunk the night before, and their first stack in the morning is to come up with Guild War maps, and that's what they come up with. And you're like, I don't understand why you're designing this stuff with all these dead spots and what looks to be just recycled stuff from previous seasons. So Well,
Speaking of,
speaking of
speaking of, I wonder what this is right here. Oh wow, look, it's an Ingrid spot right there.
Tower
And
map,
another
baby.
Ingrid spot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, so yes, this is an Ingrid spot here, but there are going to be, I guess, upsides and downsides depending on how you see it. So, 2 spots for a defender, right? It could be all the way back here, or it could be
3.
right up front, right?
3.
So,
3.
oh yeah, there are
There's
3.
another one.
There's 1, 2, 3. But we're not going to put our defender all the way here and then have these platforms just cover everything else, right? It's just too easy for bootkeepers to pick them.
Yep.
Okay, so if we put them here, we now are limited to these 3 platform units, and I don't know, this platform here could become very snipeable with Guardian Guards, but then again, if your Ingrid is built efficiently, she could melt them. All right, here is the other thing though, that
Also Carnelian could work
exactly
very well.
So the other thing here, you see these platforms here, and so we were talking about dead platforms already from the start when it comes to maps design. So I have another clip for you. Let me make sure that I picked the right one here. So this one here, you can see Lily here, right?
Do they snipe Lily?
So here is where I am going to release the archers. And this Lily, unfortunately, did not have enough oomph or enough HP to be able to survive a couple hits from it. So, unfortunately,
there's no way they hit him more than once too.
They actually can get 3 shots off before they get out of range. So it's going to be a difficult tile or platform to use. So I will warn people, if you can, not to use that platform at all if you're going to use the top portion of this as your defense spot.
Something I will say about this map that I am noticing though is it seems like they did do an interesting job at kind of nerfing some of the strategies that were kind of meta before.
Yes, at least they did try.
That was the prime Carnelian tile in the previous map. Like every single thing at the back had friggin' Carnelian there. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the front here, it seems like they moved. Like I know we're not quite at the front yet, but at the front, Ingrid Praetus teams were the most seen teams.
Yes,
in the front, and it looks like they changed it a bit. So
they just changed it a bit, but we'll come down here at the bottom, and then I'll show you that. But essentially, what is going to come down here, I think that the nightmare compositions may still see some life in this portion here. Yep. So you can easily place a hatsuit here, and you can have somebody covering in the back here with 3, and then you just use a healer on the back here. Make sure that it covers your defender, especially if you put him all the way up front. But I think that this here is the perfect defense for me, at least in this spot here, is going to be the 3 tile, the 3 ground units. That I think that's going to become more efficient. Some people, I think, might rely on Ingrid, even though she only has the 1 tile to cover, but and then use 3 platform units if they want to for that. So
also Dahlia might have some use here.
Dahlia, one more.
She has 1 more tile.
Well, she has 1 more tile. So she can cover this one here and start slowing things down. So one of the initially with the season 6, one of the stubborn defenses that eventually was broken was Nightmare with Dahlia. So I'm wondering if something like this will come in here, but this is a little bit more cluster. So it'll at least afford us the opportunity to make sure that we don't get swarm, or that there is enough DPS going around to make sure that everybody can do their effective jobs with the demon soldiers coming and engaging here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's spot number 1, and so that's what's going to look like. So yeah, so I would say the only warning, heads up, it would be this platform unit here. Don't avoid it if at all possible. Yeah.
And if you're going to put someone there, build them very tanky.
Very, very, very tanky. Okay, the other engagement point here could be here with Defender here. Now, I think that when Arturus and I were discussing this and the war's going on, We were talking about the possibility of having a defender here, but we know the limitations there then, because now we're limited to a couple of platform units, and there are not many platform units that can extend out here except for Ajax, maybe, right? Something like that.
Yeah, but you could also use the top right tiles,
right,
like
this
to
one.
the top right of Regulus.
Yep. If
Or not even with ground units, like platform units.
This one right here.
Yeah, you could do that, or with platform units, like to the right of that.
These two?
Yeah.
Okay.
You might be able to get some use there, even though they probably get sniped a little bit.
Okay, so if we put the defender all the way back here, and then we put a couple of platform units here, this is what could happen. So I do have a clip for that as well. Let me make sure that I grab the right one. Let me see here. So is it this one? Or I think it's this one here. So if you can see that, one of the things that I caught is that they put Brooker all the way in the back here. And now I have Patrikios that is right behind my head. And then I have these two units up here. So I'm going to release the Gardener Guards because I just wanted to see what the targeting mechanism is going to be. So I'm going to try to get the Icicles out of the way. Here come the Gardener Guards. So the first point of engagement that you see there is going to be I. So they took her out. They get a couple of shots on Patrikios. And since they survived long enough, now they can take out Ezra. So if you do that, you got to be really, really careful and make sure that whatever unit you put where Patrikios is able to melt those Gardener Guards really, really quick. Otherwise, you're going to get sniped in that position there. But if we come back up top here, there are some possibilities, I guess, here, depending. It won't be like an Ingrid Dahlia spot, but you'll have a couple of platform units that you can use if you want to. And maybe you can use like a Wukong or somebody that can provide some CC here in this style. But these platform units are out. This one could become dangerous if you don't have enough protection. Maybe you can use, a very powerful marksman if you want to. Just make sure that the Gardener Guards do come really close to Regulus. That's going to be a spot that they'll hit. But then you'll have another platform here in the back if you want to, along with this one. So it'll be something like this is what it would look like if you decide to defend it this way.
Yeah. You do need a platform tile for a healer. So there's like 2
possibly
DPS
here,
tiles.
right? So we got a DPS here, maybe, depending on who you're using. You can use the healer on this spot here, just to at least try to get that, right? Make sure that it doesn't get sniped out. Try to provide enough protection with your DPS before they even get a chance to target that healer. So that would be...
What I'm noticing... Sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
What I'm noticing the most is Patrikios isn't really having a lot of slots here.
Not in this one here. Maybe back here, if you decide to put him up front. But yeah, Patrikios is, at least in the first glance, top here and in this spot might be limited. Now you might be thinking,
because by the portal, the thing is you could fly over it because Patrikios destroys flyers, but it's right at the portal, so you might just be able to sneak some through really easily. Over there on the top left, there's no space for his range to reach it without getting rocked. Then again, he can be built very tanky, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, but if we place Patrikios here, right? He won't be able to extend out here, so he's out, right? You can't use these platforms here for Patrikios. You could do this if you wanted to, and then he would cover this. But yeah, you have to make sure that he doesn't get sniped. So yeah, build him with a lot of HP, if that is the case.
Yeah, but you could also put a Lily, at the top there. Facing down to keep it alive. I think that's what we're gonna see like really early on, is probably something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, we dare you to waste a spot on the Gardener Guards. We dare you to come after and then see if it works.
Yeah, but then it's also like there's not really an Ingrid spot, and then there's a lot of other stuff. I think this is a much more healthy map from what I'm seeing right now. At least at the top half, than what it was before, because it was literally just Patrikios and Ingrid, and they would call it a day, essentially.
Yeah, the keep is gonna be really hard to defend. Okay, now here's the last one. Here's the more stubborn one. So here we have Regulus. Now we put our first defender spot here. You can see the 2 deployment points here for the demon soldiers. So some of the I can tell you right now that a lot of my guildmates are falling into this crutch here, which is to place Ingrid here and engage as soon as possible. So this is going to be, I think, a very popular spot for her. And then they're placing platform units here in the back. So, you know, something like this. And then they put in the healer back here. I've seen other situations where they're putting like Ardea, Valkyra up here, Ares. So he's facing down. So here's the engagement point. Here's the fighter. And can start doing damage right away as well. So I think that this is probably here where the more stubborn defenses are going to come about. And if we put this here as the defender point, these platforms are somewhat protected at the initially with the Gardener Guards. Their targeting actually changes, and actually they'll turn over to this platform here, which I'm going to show you here with hopefully this is the right one, but I think it's Patrikios, the one that or Bisilbub, the one they're going to target here.
Okay, so they reach across the vines and they hit to the left. Okay.
So you see how he has here Ardea, and then he has it. So I'm going to say, if you decide to play that game where you're placing somebody like Bisilbub here, somebody that is stubborn because they're manipulating movement, or you play somebody like Ingrid here, you just got to make sure that these guys do not get a chance to come at you, essentially what it is. Because at least in this example here, I was able to build them strong enough to take out Beelzebub. And so one of the things that I asked was, well, what exactly are we using him for here? Because if it's just to be a stubborn CC unit, you need to tank him up.
Yeah.
If it's somebody like Ingrid, you're going to have to sacrifice some DPS for HP, because she's going to be targeted off right away if that's something that you decide to do as well.
Yeah, and if you're using Ingrid, then you know she's not really going to be attacking all the time. Oh. Or you could put her, you know, up and to the left, but then the range doesn't hit that much, and then it's like there's a lot of holes in the defenses that I'm thinking.
One of the other things that I was trying to study with her as well is just like releasing one unit and see if I could get her to just that one unit to survive long enough to see if there was a way for me to change her mode, because we know that if we can get her to switch to stellar mode, it just makes things so much easier. So there were a couple of situations where I might have sacrificed a lightning guard or even my rare lizard flyers to try to get that to happen. So just be careful. It's a spot that is enticing to do. Dahlia might work a little bit better because she can slow things down. But yeah, so just be careful with how you play Ingrid here and what the surrounding cast is going to be. Because if you don't give her the proper protection, they're going to switch the mode on her if they're successful at it.
Can't you just send any single unit and she'll swap in that spot?
That's
right as they reach the bend?
Well, that's what I was thinking, right? So the Feroz and stuff like that. There's some instances where I saw it happen, and there were some where she was completely ignoring it. But you only have to send one unit. Just send the one unit out first, and then she'll switch over.
Yeah, because don't you just like send one tank and then you double dog it and you win or something?
You could, if you're not careful enough, that's exactly what could happen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you have to do 2 ground units, or you have to put her in a better spot, or you have to plan it around.
Just imagine if you saw this defense, wouldn't you just send one Farah out, right? See if you can change her mode, send the other one out, and then just possibly do another unit, or you can send out the 6 dogs and hopefully they survive, and then go across. And
then you win with 2 units instantly.
It's exactly.
Like, it's just a bad defense.
That's what turns out to be. So so just be conscious about how Ingrid works, especially if you're gonna use her here.
Yeah.
But my it looks like my 2 favorite spots, because I can just think with at least in my global account and the accessibility of the heroes that I have, is going to be either here at the top or here again, trying to plug this hole here, like we did on the keep for season 6.
Yeah. Yeah, those are really the only two spots I'm thinking about as well. Because the top left, I mean, I guarantee someone cooks up something good, but it's gonna be less common.
I'll tell you what, that in some of the spots that I have predicted in the past that could be really hard to defend, there are some defenses that really do work well early on, but then somebody figures out how to break them, and then that's it. That defense disappears. And then you go back to the metas a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. 6 and 7 strategy guide for defense building. Any other pointers you want to give the folks here in terms of how this is laid out?
I don't really think so. I mean, the moral of the story here is Ingrid hopefully will be a little less bad. I hope
it's not season 5 keep or season that long range that we had, right, with the turn and then having to engage her with the 3 tiles or 4 tiles that she had to blow us out of the water. Yeah,
because the current maps we're ending with, the best teams are Ingrid teams for a reason.
Yep.
So it would be nice to maybe have a break. Like, I have Ingrid now, so I can't really complain too much, but also, please, can we move on?
Yeah, essentially down the line we're gonna have to figure out a way. They're gonna have to figure out to not make the arborists just be every defense's arbor or esotericist. Something has to change. Something has to rejuvenate this mode again. And I don't know if the new demon soldiers are going to be it, but yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at right now. Hopefully it's not repetitive, because people are feeling the burnout in some situations, but I do feel like, at least with the season 7 maps, that there are some portions where it may get repetitive, where we see season 5 and season 6 strats still be viable.
What I want to see is Infernals be the best faction. That's what I want to see.
Oh man, that would require like a boom where their ults don't take too long to recharge or something like that. I have no idea how can we make Infernals better for this. That's the downside.
They would have to make new units that are meta in Guild, and that's it. There's no existing Infernal units that are really that good. we would
need like an Infernal Lord that doesn't lock up its units when they're charging their ult. It's essentially what's it would have to happen, because that's why we don't use Twin Fin or Sarkladens, right? Because they lock you out and it's easy to pass.
And also, despite them having crazy single hits, a Pharaoh will soak up literally everything in one hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could just put a Fool on a Pharaoh and it's like, boop. It's tickle. It's a tickle. Like that's it. That's what Infernal teams are like right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then of course we have the new Demon Soldier. You've probably seen his mechanic is going to be essentially he's going to be able to better protect people that have this the mark of the Frostbourne. So they're trying to make those frigid Demon Soldiers a little bit more viable for us to use, because nobody's using them. Let's be honest, nobody's using those frozen guys.
Oh, that's the worst Demon Soldier in the game.
Exactly. Yeah,
like genuinely, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I made a video on them because I got them the first week, and they were so bad. Like, it was appalling.
Very low BPB defenses, it would work, but not in the stages that you and I hang out. They're just not Demon Soldiers that we can count on. Not right now, anyway.
The thing is, Ingrid could go pew, and then they die.
That's it.
They fall over dead.
Poof.
They're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully these are good. It looks like they're kind of resistant to freeze, so maybe helps against like Boreas teams. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah. How often are we seeing Boreas? Maybe Mary is the only one that still has some play, but yeah, Boreas is unless you
I mean,
have.
Numerit, Honora, they freeze a little.
There we go. Emirate, I'll give you. Yes, A1 and above Emirate. Yeah, that can counter that. So
maybe Honora teams.
Yep.
Are around a little. Yep. It depends on the awakenings where we are, but.
So Forerunner people, yeah, next week we start this up again, and then you on Global, you at least have a chance to rest up and kind of give this a thought as to how you're going to formulate your defenses, and when the time comes to deploy them, at least now you have some tips of how to go about trying to construct them and where not to place your units at all, if at all possible, and just give you a better chance to succeed then when it comes into the defensive side, and give your opponent a little bit of hell before they take you down.
Yeah. So good luck, everyone, and it'll be interesting. I mean, it's a little samey, but also I think they solve a couple issues that are pretty bad right now. So I'm interested to see where this goes.
If you can think of any other type of defense that we did not cover, feel free to put that in the comment section below. And aside from that, Destin, thank you very much for joining me to discuss this 2 new maps. I hope you had fun. It certainly was interesting to talk about it with somebody else instead of just doing them on my own. So I do appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, everyone. Subscribe to Sebastian Canes or else, I guess.
Or else. No, that's
or else. I don't know what to say as a consequence, so make up the worst thing imaginable so it motivates you to subscribe.
Listen, if you're watching this, and I'm assuming you know who Destin is, but if you do not, I'm gonna put the details to his channel below. Go subscribe to him. He finally got access to the test server, so we should be able to see some neat stuff coming from him now that he has access there, and he can power up all those units and make him as beefy as possible to clear content really easily. So I'm always looking forward to that now that you have test server access. So aside from that, thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. Remember, do hit like and subscribe on your way out, and I will see you all in the next Watch Your Realms video.
See you guys.